Holy Mod here, and this is tutorial 3 in the expression 2 series where I'm going to be covering if, else if, and else statements. So let's start by getting rid of everything but inputs and outputs. We're going to have two inputs of number type A and B and two outputs of number type X and Y. So before we actually do anything with that, we need to get some components. So I'll start with two buttons which are going to represent A and B, and then we're going to have a thruster which is going to represent Y, and a lamp which is going to represent X. Awesome. So let's get everything wired up. We'll set A to button A, B to button B, lamp on and off to X, and thruster on and off to Y. Alright, so if you remember from last time, we had an if statement, and it said if there's a change in A, then make D equal 10. Well, an if statement is very much like that. Whenever the condition in the if statement's parentheses is met, then execute the code in the curly brackets. That's pretty much all an if statement is. So we're saying whenever A, for example, equals the value 1 and only the value 1, then we're going to assign X equal 1. And notice I said equal and assign. When you have two equal signs next to each other, that is saying that whenever A is equal to 1. When you have one equal sign, that's saying assign X to the value of 1. Alright, so let's see what that does. So I press our button, it's on, button's 1, A's 1, that's on, that's cool. When we turn it off, nothing happens, it doesn't go off. That's because we haven't defined anything to turn it off. So we need an else statement, which is saying whenever all the conditions above have not been met, or they're false or not true, whenever A is equal to 0, for example, in this case, then we're going to run whatever is in the set of curly brackets. So we'll say that X is equal to 0 in that instance. So do that. 0, 0, 1, 1. Now, very similarly, you can say X equals A in Boolean Algebra, and that will do the same exact thing. So, what about this B value? Well, we also have an else if statement to cover, which is to say whenever the above statement is false from the else if, and the condition is here is true, then run everything inside the curly brackets. So we're going to say that Y is equal to 1 in this case. And we have an error. Why do we have an error? Errors are actually good. That's because we didn't define anything right here. That's very important. You need to define your conditions if you want them to work. So we'll say whenever B is equal to 1, set Y equal 1. So, and else if X will equal 0, not 1. I don't know why I put 1. Anyway, so there we go, 1 and 0. Whenever B is equal to 1, and like the same issue, whenever B is 0, this does not turn off, so we simply fix that by putting Y equals 0 here. And now when B is 0, that's 0, 1, 1. Alright, so other than that, there's a very important order of operations going on. And the order of operations is saying that since this statement is true, like let's say that X is equal to 1, ignore all the rest of this and don't execute it at all. So that's saying, okay, A is equal to 1. It doesn't matter if B is 1 or not, because A is equal to 1, and that's all the code cares about. Now let's say that I wanted to execute B. Well, it's saying that, okay, this is not true, but this is true, and we're going to skip this statement. And notice, because this is true, and it's already 1, I can activate this A equals 1 because it does not come after the else if statement. So let's just say B is 1, and A can be turned on because it precedes the else if statement. But notice, now I can't turn it off until I turn B off, then both of them turn off. So the order of operations can be a little tricky at times. You can actually get around this by saying, okay, well, if B is equal to 1, then, yeah, okay, so we're going to make it separate instance in this case, so else Y equals 1. Okay, so you see what I did. I made two separate if statements, one for A and one for B, to isolate them so we don't have any issue. And now they should work independently of each other. So it doesn't matter which one gets pressed first. It's all going to work. Alright. Now, remember, you can also do this by saying x equals a and y equals b in Boolean algebra form, and that will be perfectly well too. So let's see. No. Alright, awesome. So there's also an if-else, or if or dupe statement that you might have run across a couple times, or if first, or dupe statement. And that's to say whenever the expression 2 chip executes its first time, or it's pasted as a duplicate, you would say, you can set some initial conditions, like run this code only the cycle of the execution. So we'll set x is equal to 1 initially, and y is equal to 1 initially. So we upload this, and both of them are on at the same time. That's exactly what we want. It's perfect. And let's see, other than that, it should be everything, covering if-else and else-if statements. If you have any questions or like me to further help you out, don't feel shy to ask. And I will catch you in the next video, where I'll be covering vectors. I'll see you then.